Fakes to Allen, fakes to Swift, and there's Komet. Cole Komet! Touchdown!
Yo, good morning, everybody. How you feeling today? Coach K.
Doing great. All right. Staying positive as always. All right. Got to do that every single day. All right. Can't approach the day negatively. So we're doing great today. We're doing great.
Absolutely. Good morning to everybody that's listening. Good morning to everybody that'll be watching. Well, technically it'd be good afternoon when you're watching this, but still,
Sure.
Good morning. How was your week? Let's start with that. How was your weekend?
My weekend, pretty great. Saturday, had some AAU tournament to coach, and then had to wake up early Sunday morning to watch that Bears London game, which I'm not complaining. I had fun watching that game.
That was an early start, Coach.
It was a very early start. So I mean,
But
I wasn't a fan of that.
it was good that we won. I want us to be high off of our last two wins, but it's been against the Panthers and the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for us to show what we can do against real stout competition and see exactly where we measure. But there was something that amazing happened. I won't say amazing. There was something that many anticipated was going to be the case. But Davante Adams has been traded to the New York Jets to team up again with his boy Aaron Rodgers. I really wish Davante would have went somewhere else.
Me too, Coach. Like our last episode was titled "Go Home, Roger."
Yeah,
Will never be a fan. Okay, but he got his guy back. All right, got his guy back in Davante Adams.
Yeah.
And I think if they somewhat still have that connection that they had just not that long ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it's gonna be something scary for the league, and the Jets could turn the season around. But I don't think this fixes all of their problems.
No.
I think their run scheme is a very bad run scheme.
Yes.
Their
defense is going to be suspect because Robert Saleh is no longer the head of that.
Yeah, I mean, what they're saying is the defense and kind of just everything in general isn't going to change, even though he left, because there's not much you can change in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, but somebody that galvanizes you, that gets you going, that knows how to say the right things, that knows how to push the right buttons, that plays a big part in professional sports. I mean, all of them are great athletes.
Yeah.
All of them know exactly where they should be. But motivating grown men who get paid millions of dollars is a very hard thing. I'm just gonna say that, simply put. Trying to get a bunch of guys who are already millionaires to work their hardest and to do everything that they're supposed to be doing to help win a football game or any professional game is a difficult task. I mean, they're already wealthy. So what if we lose tonight? My check is still gonna cash.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So it's like it's a thing to see that Davante ended up getting traded to the Jets. I wanted so bad for him to go to the Steelers because I think the Steelers need him. I think they need a receiver like that.
Yeah.
For them to be truly a contender for the Super Bowl, because I think they have the defense for a Super Bowl run. Their offense just needed that type of weapon, and I think Davante going to the Jets is kind of like a cop-out on him proving exactly the type of receiver that he really is, because since Derek Carr left the Raiders, he's kind of just pouted his way out of Las Vegas.
Sure.
It makes me kind of wonder exactly if there's any more plans for Las Vegas to kind of like unload. Maybe Max Crosby is on the chopping block to get potentially traded either over the offseason or something like that to try to help secure them going forward. We're trying to revamp their future roster. Shedeur Sanders is most likely the quarterback that they're hoping that they can get. So I can see them doing a lot of different things, but I'm not a fan of this Davante to Aaron Rodgers situation. I think it's just more of the same of Aaron Rodgers getting what he wants. pouting, getting people fired, still getting the teammates that he wants. It's just Aaron Rodgers is really the LeBron of the NFL. For real. I think that's what he. I mean, he don't win like LeBron. At least LeBron
Right.
has 4.
Yeah.
But the way that Aaron Rodgers can kind of like go from team to team, and he's only been in 2 different teams, but
That's true.
the way that he can kind of control and manipulate the media, control and manipulate ownership, control and manipulate the team, get the guys that he wants, get the guys that he don't want out, type of thing. It's very LeBron-esque.
Yeah, I could see that point of view. Definitely like attitude wise and trying to control the team, which we definitely see LeBron do in the NBA. I mean, they call him Le GM for a reason, right?
Le GM. Was there any place that you wanted Devontae to go? I mean, I said I wanted him to go to the Steelers. Was there any place that you wanted him to go?
I'm very surprised that he didn't end up going to the Ravens. I thought the Ravens were gonna make like a big push for him, especially how good they are this year.
Yeah.
I thought they might have just wanted to solidify, like a real deal number 1 wide receiver. They have Zay Flowers, he's a great young stud, but like I
think that's why they didn't do it.
I could see that, but I think if you pair Devontae Adams up with him, you can unlock Zay Flowers' game even more. Like
I agree.
You know what I mean? You take off all the pressure off of Zay Flowers. Of course, the Ravens, they're known more so for their running game, right? You got Lamar off the option, you got Derrick Henry in the run game, and you still got, the likes of Isaiah Likely, you got Mark Andrews, you know what I mean? You've got great tight ends. So the focus really is on Zay Flowers. So I think Devontae going to the Ravens would have been a great move for them. Maybe the asking price just wasn't something they were comfortable with paying.
I think that's what it was.
Or maybe, they did offer something along the lines that New York did, but Vegas, the Raiders valued their 3rd conditional 2nd pick more than maybe the Ravens, because the Ravens will be good for the next 5+ years presumably if everything
as long as they got
right.
Lamar, they'll be fine.
Exactly. So
yeah. All right, well, let's get into these week 6 results. Enough on Devontae. We're not excited. I guess we're just excited that the whole saga is over with.
Yeah.
But week 6, we saw some games that were kind of surprising. I mean, the Bears wasn't surprised they won. The Commanders gave their best effort against Baltimore, but like we said, Baltimore won. But Jaden Daniels pretty much stood his own. I think he could have had a better performance, but he didn't do bad at all. I mean, going against Lamar Jackson, they're kind of like symmetrical in a sense. It's like kind of looking in the mirror. It's like the Spider-Man meme. So that was kind of cool to watch them go toe to toe. The Bengals came up on a victory
against the Giants.
Yeah.
It was not high scoring, but
they still need to win.
Exactly.
The Bengals need to win.
Yep.
They're at that point now where their season can really just get completely out of hand if they don't start winning.
Absolutely.
The Cleveland Browns are still imploding.
Completely.
Yeah, and so it's just, a few games that wasn't that much of a shock. I mean, the Buccaneers ended up putting belt to ass on the New Orleans Saints, who are just kind of going down a cliff. I mean, it's like they're kind of staying afloat, but they're not really staying afloat. So I'm kind of interested in seeing if they will get back to where they were week 1 and week 2. I'm not sure of exactly what it'll take to turn that around, but I'm hoping that they could get it together, because for the sake of the NFL, it's always great to have a storyline where the Super Bowl hosting city has a team that could potentially be a threat for the Super Bowl. It's always great to see that. That's always a good storyline for the season. So I'm hoping that they can turn it around so that they can at least be in the mix. What about you? Any surprises? Anything that stood out for you for the week 6 games?
I'll tell you what, that the route that the Lions gave to the Cowboys was yikes, man. Yikes. If I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm in hell right now. I'm in hell because, man, you just played I understand there are so many injuries on that team right now, right?
Yeah.
You're missing a lot of guys on the defensive end, but, man, the offense couldn't even get going. Like, they couldn't at all. And, credit to the Lions. They were constantly disrupting that that flow in the offense,
Yeah.
but you got to put up more than 9 points at home. Like, it's not like they were in Detroit. They're at home in Dallas, belt to ass in their own place. Like, that is embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Dallas is Dallas.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we had Dak on our Who's Cooking
We
portion last week.
We did.
Oh,
I
man.
said that too. Like as I was putting together the segment for this week, for Who's Cooking and who should get the fuck out the kitchen. I was like, man, we just had Dak Prescott up here, and here he goes laying a fucking egg, man.
Yeah,
Just shitting a bit, just pissing a bit, just oh my god, Dak.
I mean, a lot of it was the early mistakes was from just great defensive plays.
Yeah.
And then over time, he just lacked confidence, and I think just the flow of the offense completely broke down. So that's when kind of like the bad mistakes came. But like early on, man, like that ball he threw to the back left pylon, or was trying to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee was open. Like he got his guy on the route, but
he just missed it.
I forgot who the safety was, but the safety on the Lions essentially he like showed and recovered in a way, you know what I mean? So like kind of how you would in basketball, where
so he like bailed on the coverage and then came back over.
Yeah, kind of like Jalen Johnson did last year, you know, where he kind of made that pick out of palms against the Vikings. It was very similar in that way, and it was a phenomenal catch from the safety. So, and I think, you know, an interception or a turnover in any aspect of the game is like
a momentum shift.
Exactly. I mean, and the offense just loses all the momentum they just gained, you know, driving all the way down the field. So,
all right. Well, I don't think there was any more big surprises from you from week 6. So I think we can go ahead and play our favorite game, Coach. Our favorite game. Who's cooking and who should stay the out the kitchen? First and foremost, I got to give it up. Caleb Williams.
There we go.
Caleb Williams is cooking, Coach. And it's not necessarily by shock to me. I'm not shocked that Caleb is doing what he's doing. I just think Shane Waldron right now is doing a good job of setting this kid up for success. And I think over time, this is going to be a situation where if Shane Waldron continues to lean into the run, continues to have this balance, then we will see more and more of Caleb Williams getting more comfortable. I do like the fact that we have managed to put up 30 plus points over the last 2 games. Again, it's been against the Panthers and it's been against the Jaguars, but when you're playing bad teams, you're supposed to spank that ass.
And just to add, like, I mean, the Bears, you know, whatever year it was, even 2018, you saw them at times struggle to beat these bad teams. So it's very nice to see we're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing against these bad teams. Yes,
absolutely. I agree. So I think that is the most I won't say impressive thing, but that's the most benefiting thing. That's the most joyful thing out of all of this, is that we are taking care of business. So that lends to Caleb kind of progressing the way that he should be progressing. So I hope that as we get towards the end of the season, like I've been saying, is that by the end of the season, he might be the quarterback that we're assuming we were going to get straight out the draft as the number 1 pick, that generational talent. But I think right now he has definitely developed into a very stable, good quarterback. And contrary to our debate of whether or not he's been able to read the defense well or not, I know you said out the gate that you felt like he was. I really feel like now he is decisive. Like, it's really clear and obvious that he knows exactly where he's going. Similar to my argument about how I was saying Jaden Daniels knows exactly where he's going, which is why he has such a high completion rating. But I think Caleb now has turned the corner to know exactly where he's going with the football prior to the snap. And I think that's definitely helped out his situation a lot. But moving on from Caleb, we were speaking about the ass whooping, the belt to ass that the Detroit Lions gave to the Dallas Cowboys. They are cooking, Coach. They're the problem of the NFC North. I know that Minnesota, I think, is still atop the NFC North right now.
Still 5-0.
So they appear to be the team to beat. But I think Sam Darnold is fool's gold. I think that there is still something about Sam Darnold that lended him to not have a great career when he first got drafted by the Jets. And I think that that's going to show its ugly head at some point in the season while he's with Minnesota. And I think Detroit, once again, is showing that they are really the team in the NFC North that you have to really concern yourself about. Not saying that the Packers aren't in the mix for that, but I think Detroit is definitely maybe not by the record right now, but they are definitely the top dog in the NFC North. And if the Bears want to take this division, it goes through Detroit in my mind. But they're cooking, coach. They are. I know they just lost some key pieces, and I know that's going to hurt them. But I think they have the coach. And I think they have the functionality, the system, the culture to kind of overcome the things that may be coming their way regarding the injuries and some of the things that they've sustained as a team. But yeah, they're here, coach.
No,
they're here.
Absolutely. And I think, that's another franchise that teams are looking at now and being like, we want to be like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that team built through the draft. Like that is the definition of let's rebuild, let's draft players, let's develop them, and let's scout and let's draft well. All right.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they've done. And we'll get into this later possibly about, some trade rumors going around the league. All right. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson went down, which is going to be a big loss for them in the pass rush and run game defensively. But obviously, there's talk about maybe Max Crosby going there, possibly a trade for Hassan Reddick, which I think is more realistic. But I think it's important to note that Detroit might not be willing to give up some draft capital just because, like, you look at the past couple of picks they've made in the last couple of years, it's like home run, notable starter, home run. Like, there's so many great picks.
They're just doing a good job of their scout team is doing a wonderful job. So it's like
absolutely amazing job.
For them, it's like, why not just lean on what we've been doing well? Why take the swings when it's not necessary?
But
so I can see that.
Yeah, but I think if you're a Detroit Lions fan, I think you guys understand the time is now to win.
Yeah.
Because you still got guys under rookie contracts. You have the cap, right? I think they still have either 54 or like $40-ish million in cap space. So if you're gonna make a splash, this is the year to do it. This is the year to trade at the trade deadline. Go get you somebody good that's going to impact the team positively and go win that Super Bowl. I mean, they weren't that far off last year, right? They made it to the championship, NFC championship game and just came up a little bit short against a good San Francisco 49ers team. So, Detroit, this is your year, but you guys got to do something at the trade deadline.
I won't say this is their year. I'll say they have a great chance. But moving forward, another team that I still think has an opportunity who I wish would have got Devontae, like I said earlier, the Steelers. But I want to say it's time for me to say Justin Fields deserves to say he's cooking. Now, it's not cooking in the sense that he's doing anything spectacular. It's not cooking in the sense that he's putting up a lot of stats. But what he's showing that I guess he couldn't show in Chicago was that he won't lose the game for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, I can see that.
He won't lose the game for you. He'll put you in a position to where if it comes down to the last minutes for a touchdown or a field goal, we'll be knocking on the door to at least have an opportunity to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I think it's making it hard for some people who have been Justin Fields detractors, people who have kind of said Justin Fields is terrible, people that have written Justin Fields off in the media, even in Chicago, it's making it hard based upon the 4-2 record that the Pittsburgh Steelers have to really just say that Justin is the problem. Like, he's just that bad. Maybe he's not as great as we potentially may have wanted him to be. And that could still be right now, right? He still has time to grow. This is the first time I think he's had coaches that truly believed in him. I think this is the first time that he has a system that is actually trying to completely cater to him in some facet. I'm not saying that he's going to maintain being the starter for the rest of the season because I do think there are some things that Mike Tomlin has to decide for this season. But I will give him the credit of cooking enough to make sure that the Steelers are one of the top teams in their division, which is not something that people kind of assumed and thought the Steelers would be based upon their quarterback situation.
Yeah, I could see the points you're making, and I think it's very it was a good point about kind of Justin not necessarily cooking like statistically, like with the flashy plays, but I think this is without a doubt like the most confident we've seen Justin Fields be as a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, in Chicago, the guy had happy feet in the pocket. You know what I mean? Wasn't really sure, where to go with the ball. Constantly just wanted to get out of the pocket and move because that
he didn't want to die.
Yeah, and that was his comfort zone, right? So, I think it's very nice to see it that he's gained some more confidence here. Always was a Justin fan. Never really. I had my doubts, which I think we all did at points. When he was with the Bears. But it's great to see him cooking. All right.
Yeah.
Continue to stay confident. He's putting the team in positions to compete for the game. Right. It's not somehow on the Bears where he was throwing 2-3 picks or fumbling the football. Off of a sack. Staying consistent, not turning over the ball. That's what he needs to do. That's how the Steelers are going to remain a top 10 team at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Now, moving on from who's cooking, my favorite part. Who should stay the fuck out the kitchen? Number 1, Nick Sirianni. I don't know why this guy is parading around, arguing with fans, and celebrating victories against the fucking Cleveland Browns, a 16-20 victory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my God, you barely walked out of that game with a victory against the Cleveland Browns, and you got your nose in the air like you're about to win a Super Bowl. I'm thoroughly confused. Like, sir, you are 2 losses away from being fired.
Yeah.
But arguably, 1 loss to Dallas could get you out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys were supposed to be the top of your division, and right now the Washington Commanders are looking like the team to beat.
In that division, absolutely.
Division.
Absolutely.
So it's like, for you to be walking around with your nose in the air, the man got a new haircut, new style up and everything. Like, he just came fresh and just understood, like, it's a new me, new day. No, same you. Same you, Nick. The haircut didn't change anything about your situation. So I don't know about Philadelphia. I don't know if Nick Sirianni is gonna last even after this season. There's so much pressure in Philadelphia. There's so much pressure for the Philadelphia Eagles to be the team that everybody thought. Getting Saquon Barkley, being in the Super Bowl, what was that, 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
3 to 2 years ago. It's time for you to show and prove if you can get this team where they're supposed to be. The Eagles are not built to beat the Cleveland Browns. That is not supposed to be the highlight of their season.
Right.
That's not what the money has been spent on. The money is being spent on winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And beating the Cleveland Browns should have been something that was already a given. And it shouldn't have been a game that was close. So I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, this was a guy when we were kind of breaking it down, kind of seeing who we should put into this portion. I'm like, we got to put him in here because I think for Philadelphia standards, it's been a very poor year. Very poor year.
Yeah.
Because you've got Jalen Hurts, who's,
considered a top 15 quarterback.
That's arguable, but
I mean, he is considered a top 15 quarterback.
Top 15.
Yeah,
of course. So, top 15. All right, yeah.
What you thought I said? Top 5?
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. I was like, come on, Coach.
Fuck no.
But I mean, you just spent the money in the offseason to go get Saquon. I mean, you've got wideouts.
You got AJ Brown. You got
Devontae Smith. You got Dallas Goedert. Like, you've got a great line still. All right, obviously Jason Kelce left, but you still have some of those.
And
pieces
you got a
there.
solid defense.
Solid defense. So, I mean, I don't see where the disconnect is with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of happy because that double doink game still haunts me to this day.
Yeah.
In 2018.
When we should have had another run.
That was our run. That was the run. If
we had a chance. We had a chance to make a run that year. I'll say that. But yeah. All right, moving on. The Saints. They are in trouble. They should get the fuck out the kitchen because they are not cooking up anything right now. They are on the fringe of having the season just downward spiral.
It's starting early.
Yes, they are on the fringe of this season getting away from them. So I don't know exactly what it is that they need to fix. I know Derek Carr is having some up and down issues with injuries and different things like that. Taysom, I think his name is Taysom Hill. He's still there. So I know there has been success with him in the past, but he obviously had a different head coach at the time.
Sure.
So I don't know if they just don't know how to utilize him in the same way, but he has shown flashes of being able to manage situations until the starting quarterback came back into the fray.
Well, I mean, as far as quarterbacking, they've got Spencer Rattler in there, the rookie. So,
they're not even using Taysom Hill?
No, Taysom Hill is still in that kind of like just do it
like
all.
A wildcat type of quarterback.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know exactly what their plan is or how they feel like they can get out, but they are on the trajectory of just going down in the season, getting away from them. And especially the way that they started. The way that they started just made you feel like, oh, New Orleans might be in their own Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like they might be the home team for the Super Bowl, like the legit home team. So I was just like, but seeing how it's been going since then has just made me go, God damn, what is happening fast over there?
Seriously. And I mean, after week 2, we're like, wow, like Clint Kubiak came in and like really set a good offensive culture there. And then now it's like,
what is happening?
I don't know, man. Like they're still putting up points. You know what I mean? Last week against the Bucks, they still had 27 points, but you can't turn the ball over. You know what I mean? And then the Bucks score 51 points. You're never going to win a football game if you give up 51 points. That's just at the end of the day, unless you're also putting up 50, right? Yeah. So it sucks to see. I'm usually a fan of New Orleans. I like seeing them do good, right? Because they're a fun franchise, very storied franchise, right, with Drew Brees. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy to see because they were one of my surprising teams at the early stages of the year here, especially after week 2. I'm like, wow, this team is legit. And then now it's like, now they're 2-4 and they're almost at the bottom of their division, if not at the bottom of their division at the moment. So, and that's not an easy one, that's for sure.
No, sir. And then last but not least, the Cleveland Browns. There's not much to say about them. That's self-explanatory. But they should really stay the fuck out the kitchen. They should burn their kitchen. They should stay the fuck away from the house. They should just like never, ever, 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 ever step foot anywhere near food, preparations, seasonings, utensils, nothing. Because they absolutely fucking suck. I don't know if there's a curse on them. I don't know if there's like some type of voodoo curse on them. I don't know if somebody somewhere has just taken like the Browns like logo or the Browns like dog head or something and just like completely put a spell on it. But they just can't find themselves on the up and up. Nothing they do, nothing they try, nobody they draft, nobody they trade for. It's just like nothing works for them. You got Deshaun, who I thought at the time was probably their best gamble. He hasn't panned out. You got Amari Cooper. That didn't pan out. Myles Garrett is pretty much just over there dwindling away.
He might be on his way out.
And he might be on his way trying to get up out of there. So it's just like there is just so much about this for this franchise and this team that's just like at this point, the NFL should really ask them, hey, do you guys actually want to be competent? Like honestly, do you guys actually want to be a football team, or is it just something that just needs to be in Cleveland? like we need to really find out, do you guys really want to be an NFL team? Because they are absolutely terrible, coach.
And here's the thing, like, we tell them to stay out the kitchen. I think they are like trying to get out of the fucking kitchen because they just got rid of Amari Cooper, traded him to the Bills, obviously, which great move for the Bills.
That was a good pickup.
I also think, man, like, getting into these trade rumors, I think Myles Garrett might be out of here by trade deadline.
Who's going to trade for him though? I want the Bears to do it.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's actually such a realistic avenue to take.
I want the Bears to do it.
If he's available. And
oh, my God.
In my opinion, he is...
Him and Montez Sweat. Yes. Oh, my God.
And in my opinion, Myles Garrett, surprisingly enough, he's more available in my opinion than Max Crosby is, because Max Crosby likes the Raiders, the organization. He wants to
Yeah.
stay there. He's come out openly and said that. The owner likes him. The
Yeah.
team likes him. He's a big culture guy. Like, that's not a guy you really just want to get rid of for a couple of draft picks. But Myles Garrett, on the other hand, definitely unhappy, right? And he's one of the premier defensive ends
I would be unhappy
in all
too.
football.
Like Joakim Noah said, it's Cleveland.
What the fuck can you do in Cleveland?
What the fuck is good in Cleveland? But yeah, no, I would want to get out of there too. But yeah, that's a good one.
But I just want to say, Cleveland Browns fans, as a Bears fan who has gone through so many struggles since I have been born, I'm sorry. Like, I am so sorry. Like, you have to support this team. Maybe it was your dad, maybe it was your uncle, maybe it's just family tradition to support this team. I think it's time to start signing the paperwork to be a fan somewhere else, because I couldn't do it, me personally. I probably would have stopped watching football.
It's time to divorce them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was good for who's cooking and who should stay the fuck out the kitchen. Let's get into this Bears game real fast. I mean, we're not going to hold it too long. We know what happened.
Yeah.
They played the Jaguars. The Jaguars basically just can't figure it out. They have the talent. They have the ability to do the things that they need to do. And just like we've been saying, our formula for success for the Chicago Bears is run the ball, lean on your defense, lean on your special teams, get the ball out quick, and when you have the opportunity to strike, you strike. Now, the only concerning thing that I have from the Bears game, which is what I told you before, and I texted you, is that Caleb Williams' deep ball is not is not the best. His deep ball game is just not good. I don't know if it's not enough arm strength. I don't know if it's too much air on the ball. I don't know if he just doesn't know how far he can throw it based upon his receiver speed. I'm not sure, but I know Justin had a better connection on the deep ball passes when he was here than Caleb is showing so far. And I think that's the next level of where our offense can become explosive, is if Caleb Williams can start hitting those deep threat opportunities and getting those plays done.
And
but in the short game and the mid-level game, he's elite.
Yeah,
he's elite. He gets the ball out quick. He gets the ball out accurately. He gets the ball where it's supposed to be. But sometimes every quarterback has their flaws, and right now it seems like the deep ball for Caleb is not exactly where I would like it to be. But other than that, we had a dominant performance.
No, absolutely, and I think that deep ball is going to come with time. As he develops more of a chemistry with his receivers. Just finding that touch, he's got the arm strength, man. The kid's got a bullet over arm as much as I've seen, but it's about finding the good balance between how much power you're putting on the ball and how much touch you're putting on it.
Yeah,
that's the happy balance you have to have when throwing that deep ball. So I mean, when DJ Moore on that pick he threw against the Jaguars, that's a touchdown. That has to be a touchdown. You know what I mean? Once you start playing these divisional opponents, we
have to make those count.
Yes, there's no more excuse. You have to make those throws. You were drafted to make those throws.
Yes,
it's time to start doing them. All right, because come November 17th, you play the Packers. That's our first divisional game there. You got to show up. All right, we can't lay in goose egg again like we always do the first time we play the Packers.
Because Jordan Love is
coming.
He's showing that had he been healthy all season, the Packers may have been undefeated too, or at least only a one-loss team. Because with Jordan Love, they look like a completely different team.
With the kicker, they're probably 5-1. Their kicker is not great.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, yes, that's true. But him as quarterback makes the Green Bay Packers look like a completely different animal, coach. It's great to see.
No,
it's not great to see, but it's great to see. At this point, I am starting to become satisfied. I am starting to become more satisfied with the fact that the NFC North is tough. Because if we win this division, then that means we really are a Super Bowl ready team. Because this division is doggy dog. There is no chopped liver in this division. You can get beat by anybody badly. You can get beat by anybody any night. Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago. If you're not showing up to play, it's gonna be a long night for you. So I think if you win this division, arguably you can say whoever wins the NFC North can possibly win the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like I've been saying these past couple of weeks, there is no especially now, there is no discussion that division
is the toughest
in
yeah,
football.
I
Like
agree.
I don't think there's any argument
I
anymore.
tried to argue with you at the beginning when we first had the conversation, but I have no argument.
No, especially now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for this week because we finally get Detroit and we get Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's a 12 p.m. game. I'm so excited to watch that game and see who wins because, I mean, predominantly, whoever wins, you're top of the division, right?
Yes,
so, very big game, a lot at stake. Sam Darnold's got to show up. Okay, Aaron Jones is injured, which, by the way, last night, the Vikings made a trade with the Houston Texans and picked up running back Cam
Akers.
Cam Akers.
Yeah.
All right, which in preseason showed some flashes that he still got some kick in it that he had during his time in Los Angeles. A good pickup for them. I think that's troubling though. I think maybe the Aaron Jones injury is going to last longer than they would hope.
Yeah,
was going to happen. But I think Cam Akers is a good plug and play guy. You know what I mean? He can kind of do it all. He's good in the pass game, can run the football pretty hard. Obviously, he's not Aaron Jones, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to see some losses there, of course. But I think the main takeaway for that game, Sam Darnold, you got to show up. All right, you just don't turn the ball over because Detroit's going to make you pay if you turn that ball over at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, let's get into our next segment, our favorite segment as coaches.
Yep.
As always, you know, we always want to be able to bring you some version of like some of the things that we see when we're watching games and some of the things that we look at and feel as a coach and evaluate. So again, this is the halftime adjustments. And we want to start off with a clip from the Grizzlies game, their preseason game.
Yes.
Coach, you wanted to break down potential play that we could probably use for Vucevic, but it was utilized for Zach Edey. So can we get that clip?
Clark inside. Now Edey's got it in the paint. Turnaround jump.
Tough shot.
Yeah, let's see that one more time.
I really like that action, man.
Yeah.
That is a great action.
Now Edey's got it in the paint. Turnaround jump.
Tough shot.
Yeah.
All right, so what did you see there, Coach, that you wanted to highlight this play?
Yeah, obviously we've got Zach here. Let's get cracking here as far as this drawing. So we've got Zach Edey on the left block. We've got point guard taking the ball up on the wing. We've got Brandon Clark posting on the right side here.
Okay.
Then we have another wing. I forgot who it was. His partner in that kind of slot position in the channel there, I like to call it, where the two lane lines extend out.
Okay.
And then you've got a guy just spacing the floor on the wing. From there, what happens is point guard, all right, who I just colored in, passes the ball down to Brandon Clark, all right, see if he can maybe work a post up.
Right.
But instead, once he passes that ball, the wing here, that's in the left slot, goes and screens his point guard for a little cut to the basket. If that's open, I'm sure they hit him. He wasn't open, though. So this play design really is for Zach Edey, though.
Yeah.
He extends this cut all the way and then sets a little cross screen for Zach Edey to come onto this right block, just catch and put the ball up, right, at the end of the day. So I think that was a very neat play to get him going. I would like the Bulls to integrate that with Vucevic.
Easy buckets.
Absolutely,
giving your big man easy touches to try to get themselves together.
Because I mean, Vooch does have a really good touch around the rim, so it's kind of surprising that they don't just run more screen action for him to come on the block, maybe take a dribble, put it up, instead of making him post up and work on his own, 1-on-1 against a big guy. You know what I mean? So I think, especially with the rookie like Zach Edey, massive human being, big guy. Has really impressed me recently. Actually, he's got a really nice touch around the rim.
He had that at Purdue.
Yeah, and people didn't think he was going to be able to translate that to the NBA game, but
I didn't know why people thought that Zach Edey would struggle so much coming into the NBA. I didn't understand why people thought it wasn't like he was Taco Fall.
right.
Yeah, he's a big kid and tall, but he actually had skill. Taco Fall was just tall.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he made it to the NBA simply because he could be a nice show that you could put on the court and people could be like, oh, Taco Fall. But it's like, I knew from the jump that he wasn't going to be anything in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's pretty much like a novelty act. But Zach Edey has the skills to be a good NBA center. Now, will he be on the level of impact that Marc Gasol had for the Grizzlies? I don't think so. Time will tell. But he could be exactly what they need, in a sense, just to kind of help Ja Morant, kind of help Jaren Jackson Jr. from having to play the center position. Just, defend the paint, defend the rim. He can be exactly what that team needs. So I think that's good. But moving on to the Bull side of things, there was a play that I just kind of wanted to show about the difference or what Zach LaVine will bring to this team this year, and I'm hoping that we continue to see that happening.
One of the best team players.
All right, so freeze it there. So Josh Giddey is bringing the ball up. All right. The floor is already spaced. You see you got Julian Phillips in the corner. You got Javon Carter in the corner. And you got Vucevic attempting to look like he's going to set a screen. But I don't think he does. I think he catches a pass from Josh Giddey here. So let's play. Catches the pass. All right, now freeze it again. Now, in this motion, Vucevic normally last year would have stayed out on top.
Yeah.
Last year, he would have stayed out on top, and the ball would have just swung, and most likely went to DeMar on the low post, right? And Vucevic would have stayed out at the top, potentially looking to shoot the shot or go set a screen for somebody else on top for them to come off. But instead, he swung to Javon Carter, who started off in the corner. So now Zach moved from the wing, and he went all the way down to the baseline as Javon Carter moved from the wing. As he moved from the corner all the way back up top to get the ball. Now Vucevic comes, press play.
Especially when he had to come off the bench.
Comes down, sets the pin down screen, press pause.
And one.
And Zach is able to hit that shot. So what that did was it created a lot of first of all, it created motion, and it gave spacing to where Zach could come back to that same spot he started in just to make a shot.
Yeah.
Right? Just to hit the shot from the wing, which is where he has a high percentage of. The right corner and the right wing is a good spot for Zach. He has a high percentage there from three. But the thing about it was, normally what would have happened last year is that he would have got the ball in the ISO off the wing.
Yeah.
Instead of actually being set up for a shot off the wing. Vucevic would have been in a situation, like I said before, where the ball would have stayed up top with him, or he would have swung to somebody else and just set a screen on the perimeter because the ball would eventually swing back to DeMar on the post. So that, for me, is going to make the Chicago Bulls a much different team offensively, especially if both him and Kobe are able to play that way. Allow themselves opportunities to get easy shots, coming off screens, moving in motion, getting back off catch and shoot, and just allowing basketball to be a more fluid game rather than stagnating it in an ISO possession.
Yeah, and I think people are going to ask the question, where are the points going to come from now since DeMar, consistent 23, 24 point a night type of guy. I think it comes from actions like this, just easily setting up Zach LaVine, let him come off the catch, off a screen, let him shoot that thing, right? 4-point play. He already got 4 points off of that. He had a great night. He's been having great nights. He's staying consistent. He's very efficient. He's not having to force many things because he's not getting thrown the ball and asked to just go ISO. You know what I mean? They're actually running through him instead of, just kind of giving it to him. They're running plays for him. So it's great to see. That's the type of role Zach LaVine should have. What I mean? Kind of more back cuts, more coming off of the screen, maybe some flare cuts where he pops in and then pops right back out, from a screen for Vooch, shoot the ball, and then pick and roll action, right?
And the additional component to that is because there's so much motion going on, you confuse the defense. And let's say when Vucevic makes that pin down screen for Zach to come up top, if the Grizzlies decide to switch that and Zach LaVine doesn't have the shot, now Vucevic has a mismatch right on the low post, and all he has to do is put that ball right down to Vuce on the post. Now, strong side where Vuce is, you have your best shooter in Zach LaVine. You have cross from that if the defense tries to come over. You have Julian Phillips in the corner, and then you still have Javon Carter on the top. So it's like you're basically allowing the motion to put your players in the best spots available for them to score on the court. And I like this new look for the Bulls. I just hope it continues. I hope we don't go back to any form of ISO basketball on a consistent level. I know Kobe has already kind of voiced that there is some concerns about him not having the ball in his hand as much as he used to and different things like that. So I'm a little concerned with his ability to play off the catch and do things like that. But if this is how the Bulls plan to get their points for both Zach, for both Kobe, and others alike, then this will be a fun team to watch.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of pressure on Billy Donovan this year. To at least get somewhat of a result out of this team.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not really the same team that it was. You don't have Alex Caruso anymore, big guy defensively. You don't have DeMar, who was your main scorer for most of the year. So you really are running like a completely different type of brand of basketball than you were last year. I think we're going to see the Bulls play a lot faster this year.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of getting the ball out, try to score in 5 seconds, get as many shots up. But I did see there is a little prediction that Billy Donovan will be the first head coach to be fired this season. There's a little he is the favorite to get fired this year.
Well, it just depends on how the season starts, Coach.
That's what I'm saying. So if the Bulls don't hit the ground running, you can definitely expect in 15 to 20 games, even maybe sooner, to get that boy out of there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But to a new segment that we have, Coach.
Yes.
A new segment that we're introducing called the Halftime Report, where we get to just kind of dive in a little bit on some topics that we thought were just kind of interesting. It's kind of some interesting things that we can kind of theorize. So we have Dante DiVincenzo, who just got traded from the New York Knicks to the Minnesota Timberwolves for the Karl-Anthony Towns trade that went down, a blockbuster trade. And during the game or after the game, actually during the game and after the game, he was chirping a lot with the New York Knicks sideline. And it turns out that at the end of the game, the person that kind of felt a little bit of what Dante was giving off was Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson, the assistant coach for the New York Knicks. And they had a somewhat, I guess, of a heated exchange towards the end of the game or after the game, where they kind of like went back and forth and was kind of being held back from some of their teammates and some of the other coaches and different things like that. And it kind of makes me feel like Dante feels, or at least it feels like, obviously Dante didn't want to leave the Knicks, but somehow he's equating his availability to be in that trade to Rick Brunson probably having some influence in that. And I think it's interesting because Dante has the Villanova connection.
Yeah.
And I think he did play with Mikal, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson for maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit younger than them, so I don't think he's a part of their original group. But to see him going back and forth with Rick Brunson just kind of lets me know that he felt like it was his fault for why he got traded. Either that or he felt like Rick was just wrong place, wrong time, just involving himself that had nothing to do with it, because he did also say that he was talking to Tibbs as well.
Right.
So I just thought that was a little interesting because it gives a little bit of the personality to the game that a lot of fans don't get to see a lot. We just assume that players are just always understanding that it's just a business and that you could be traded at any point in time. But that's not necessarily the case all the time. These players have feelings. These players get immersed into cities. These players get connected to teammates. And so they end up in situations where they think they found home and then it gets ripped away from them. And they have emotions. emotions. And it was good to see that he was kind of just like, don't y'all forget like how much of a big help I was last year to the New York Knicks and all the things that I did when Julius Randle went down. And for y'all to just trade me to Minnesota like that, and I get us for Karl Anthony Towns, but you telling me you couldn't put together a package outside of me? Like, okay, cool. I won't forget this. So that was cool to see. But also another team that I wanted to move on to, the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray is not looking good, Coach. He's not looking good in preseason so far.
Not at
and
all.
I'm concerned that the Denver Nuggets may have ran their course on their championship contention and their championship run. I think they are truly the example of when parity works. This is exactly what the NBA is looking for these days. A team that just so happens to hit that magic run during the season and they end up winning the championship, because I think that's what happened for the Denver Nuggets. It was just their time. They had been knocking on the door of potentially doing something great, and they finally accomplished it. But I do not think that this team is equipped to go on another run to win the West or even to win another NBA championship. And I won't say it starts and ends with Jamal Murray, but as much as we give a lot of credit to Jokic, a lot of what makes that team dynamic and a lot of what makes that team potent is Jamal Murray's ability to play on the ball, off the ball, in pick and roll, and be dynamic as a scorer as well as somebody that can facilitate the team. But he's not doing that right now. And so I think that smells trouble in the Mile House City for me. I don't know if they have a contingency plan for Jamal Murray, but I wouldn't be surprised that after the season, there's talks about Jamal Murray potentially being on the move, Coach.
That's it's surprising to see kind of the Nuggets struggling early on here. I mean, granted it's preseason, so this is the time to test. You know, what I mean, kind of get your guys going. Maybe they're just not in full swing yet.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very important to watch like the first 10 games of the season for the Denver Nuggets and see what Jamal Murray is doing, because he really is, that he's supposed to be that 1-2 punch for Jokic. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying. Yeah, I know.
He's supposed to be that guy, and obviously you have pieces like you got Michael Porter Jr., you got Aaron Gordon, you just got Russell Westbrook this offseason, who is going to be a serviceable backup point guard for you. But at what point do you really kind of look at it and be like, should he be starting? Like, Jamal Murray has not impressed me at all, even during the play when he was playing with Canada over the offseason for the national team. Yeah, the Olympics. He wasn't really doing too great there either. And then now I think it's kind of just, I think this is showing maybe a lack of basketball played over the summer, like actual
I don't know. Maybe
workouts,
it could be Russ. Maybe it could be him just trying to return or recover from some injuries that he may not, that Denver may not necessarily be making a big deal about. But something is clearly keeping him from being the Jamal Murray that was in the bubble.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you had some things that you wanted to discuss yourself on the halftime report.
Yeah. So my first one here is Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay.
Obviously, news came out last week that Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel came out and said that Tua will play football in 2024. I'm thinking that was a conversation that was had between him and Tua, kind of talking about it, which honestly, I'm not surprised to see Tua, even in Alabama when he got banged up, always a fighter.
Right.
Always a guy that wanted to compete, no matter how hurt he was, no matter how banged up he got. But man, seeing some of these hits he's been taking is scary, and kind of like what happens afterwards. I mean, he really goes into like a state of shock almost. Like his hands are like doing like crazy things I haven't seen before. And it's scary because he's a great quarterback, and this team does not function without him.
No,
so
that's why they paid him.
Right, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how the Dolphins play out the rest of this season, considering I don't know if he's going to come back this year. Again, Head coach said 2024. We don't know if that's going to be this season or beginning of next.
Well, beginning of next would be 2025.
Well, technically still in 2024, right? 'Cause
Oh, yeah, right.
September.
The 2024 season. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So it's very concerning to see the things that are going on with him because I like him as a quarterback. I think he's got a great game. He's got a great deep ball. You know, he's got great receivers. Like that's a good team when he's healthy.
Right.
And I thought it was very interesting to see kind of this quick of a turnaround as far as is he going to continue to play football? Because there was a serious conversation for a couple of weeks here where it was like, do you consider retirement at this point to just preserve your good health? You know what I mean? Like taking that many shots to the head and having that many concussions and having those reactions to it, that is not good. And like that could fuck up your health. You know what I mean? Your physical health for a long time coming. You know, once you're done playing football. So it's like, where do you kind of draw that line where it's like, okay, it's been too much. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like what happened to Derrick Rose in his knee, where it's like it just constantly kept happening over and over again. And, you know, he was like, well, I want to be able to, you know, walk normally at my son's graduation and stuff like that. Like, where does Tua kind of ask this question where it's like, you know, when do I kind of, you know, draw the line and be like, I got to take care of myself first, you know, instead of really playing this game that I love. It would be a big loss for him to have to step away from the game, but I think ultimately you have to value your physical health over just
what if it's not his choice?
It will be his choice though.
Well, I'm saying, what if it's really not his choice?
Well, what are you hinting at here?
All I'm gonna say is when you paying somebody that much money and it's all guaranteed.
His contract is all guaranteed?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or at least the majority of it is guaranteed.
Okay. Yeah. He did get a
They might have
bag.
some contingencies within it to try to save them some money in certain places if he doesn't play a certain amount of games, or if he continues to have certain injuries. I'm sure that they covered themselves in some type of way, the Miami Dolphins, but they're still paying some of that money. And if he walks away from the game, that's just money that you just have to pay for somebody that can't offer anything to your team. And Miami is not in a position where they can afford to do that. So
they do not have the salary cap for that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it's everything. I don't know if everything is in his hands to make decisions like that. I will hope it is, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. But moving on to my next point, or my next player. This wasn't planned, but I kind of picked two injured players for whatever reason. But my second player, or my second topic, is Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions. Mentioned him a little bit earlier. Obviously, last week he had that gruesome leg injury. We all saw it on national television. Very sad to see. You never like seeing that. Kind of like, you know, when Gordon Hayward had his leg injury and like on opening night, you know what I mean? Paul George, like it was one of those. Like you see the leg kind of like looking like how it's not supposed to look.
Yeah.
And this, like I mentioned earlier, this is a big blow to the Detroit Lions. He is a significant part of their defense. He is the one that gets the pressure. He's the one that draws the double teams.
He's their Aaron Donald.
Yes. Like he is, you know, what Max Crosby is in Vegas. Yeah. Like he is what Montez Sweat is now in Chicago.
Or
you know
what
I mean?
Khalil Mack was for us.
Exactly, or what Khalil Mack was, right? So it's like seeing him go out, you know, the way he did, and as early as it is in the season, Detroit has got to make some moves. Like I said, they got to make something happen at the trade deadline. Or I don't know if that defense is going to be as effective as it always was. I mean, that secondary and linebacker core is great, but you have to have some type of pass rush and some run stopping in order to actually prevent like plays from happening. If you just let a quarterback sit in the pocket and have time, he'll eventually find somebody to get open, right? But you got a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, you know, rushing you every single play. He's a guy that, you know, almost plays every snap of every single game. You know what I mean? Defensively. So losing him is like you're losing a big chunk of what your game plan is. So Detroit's gonna have to somehow work a new game plan in until they maybe get somebody like maybe Max Crosby, maybe Myles Garrett. I think more realistically Hassan Reddick. is a more realistic option, especially considering his contract situation where he's come out and said he's not re-signing with the Jets.
Right.
And this is his last year in this contract. So it makes sense for the Jets to trade him and at least get some value for him now, especially with a team that might not have the best draft picks, all right, as far as like position-wise because they're a good team. But
Plus, they're giving things up to get guys.
Exactly. So
this might be a way for them to recover something, I guess.
Yeah, but I think if you're the Jets here and you're trying to get rid of Hassan Reddick, I think the Lions is the team to trade him to because they'll be more willing to actually give you some draft capital, even though they love their drafting. They got great drafting, but the Lions know their window is in the next 2 or 3 years here because after that, you got to start paying people, and that means
somebody's going to
go,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Kind of how we saw Kansas City break down in a way. Obviously, they're still somehow got a great record.
When you got Patrick Mahomes, it don't matter.
And when you got the refs on your side, but that's past the point.
Yeah, whatever.
But
don't hate.
I'm not trying to.
Don't hate on Pat.
I love Pat. I love Pat. But again, seeing Aiden Hutchinson go down the way he did, sucks for the league. It's fun seeing him play. As a Bears fan, I guess it's like a deep breath and be like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like you won't have to play him the first time you see him. I don't know if he's coming back this year. I mean, seeing the injury, I don't think it's something he comes back this year from. But hopefully you recover fast, man, because a great football player. So it'd be good to see Aiden come back, have a good speedy recovery, and come back fully healthy.
Yeah. All right, and then Justin. I talked about Justin earlier, but Justin, look out, because Russell Wilson is more than on your heels. That man is at your neck.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally breathing down your neck for the starting position. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not convinced that the Steelers are in a better position with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. I just think that the offense might be a little bit more explosive, but there's always a chance that Russell Wilson may make more poor decisions in trying to be explosive. The thing that has been working for the Steelers with Justin is that Justin has been minimizing all type of mistakes. He's been minimizing any opportunities to give turnovers to the opposing team. He's been minimizing any type of way where the opposing team can have a field advantage or possession advantage or anything like that. Russell Wilson may technically be the better quarterback, but because he's a better quarterback, he'll be pressed to do things way differently than Justin. He'll take gambles that Justin don't take. He'll try to make passes that Justin don't try to make. It'll be a totally different situation, and I'm not sure that means that there will be great and high valuable ball protection on Russell Wilson's behalf. And so I'm nervous. If I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm nervous about making this change because while, yes, I admit that the defense at times could need some help from the offense. If the offense just puts some points on the board, it doesn't put so much stress on the defense to have to carry the game by stopping the other team for the entirety of 4 quarters, right? But you don't want to risk the opportunity, or you don't want to risk the formula that's been working for the Steelers, which is protecting the ball, high ball security, not making mistakes on the offensive end, keeping the ball away from the opposing team, and then being effective when needed to be. Getting the field goals, getting the touchdowns when required. That has been working. You put Russell back there, I'm not sure you get that same level of ball security. I'm not sure you get that same level of ball protection, turnovers not being there. It concerns me. I do think that the offense will score more points, but they might also give the ball up a little bit more too. And so I'm concerned about if Russell Wilson is the best way to go, but I do think his opportunity is coming. I wanted the Steelers to get Devontae only because I thought that if you would have given Justin a receiver like that next to George Pickens, then we probably would have been able to evaluate what type of quarterback Justin could really be for the Steelers with a little bit more weapons. The same way I felt like we could have had a chance to really evaluate Justin here in Chicago with the weapons that Caleb Williams have. So I wanted the Steelers to pull off something like that, but they haven't. As of yet, they haven't done anything of yet. And so it lends me to believe that there might be a Russell Wilson game coming soon. And I don't know. I'm not sure exactly if that's going to work well for the Steelers, but time will tell.
Well, I mean, I think they came out and there was like, maybe it wasn't a rumor. I think it was like an announcement that from sources that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback this next week, which is interesting, considering their matchup, which they play this week, the Jets, right? A decent defense for sure, right?
Maybe
You've got great
maybe you
corners.
felt Justin can't beat Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe. Again, just to kind of piggyback off of some of your points, like I think Russell Wilson could put up more points on the board. Like obviously, was it a trade or did they sign this? I forget.
I think they traded.
I'm pretty.
For him.
It was a trade, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you traded for the guy, expecting him to be your number one quarterback, and then you also trade for Justin, and then you have like this kind of presumable quarterback duel. You know what I mean? Like in training camp at OTAs, Russell Wilson won the job and then got hurt, so then Justin got the start. So it was kind of interesting to see how that went down. And man, I don't know. I think if you got a quarterback that has been playing, as consistently and as comfortably as Justin Fields has been, I don't see why you take him out here. And putting a guy that hasn't played a game this season against a pretty tough passing defense. So
I don't know. Maybe you do it just so you say, okay, we get this monkey off our back. We let him play. He goes out there and loses the game. And now we can go back to Justin. Because now it's like, well, we were winning with him. So do y'all want to keep Russell out there? I don't know. But if Russell wins and they win in decisively fashion, then you still have a problem on your hands. Because now the next game is like, well, do you go back to Justin? I mean, so far Russell is 1-0. Justin is 4-2. So I think Mike Tomlin, as much as he began this season off playing that quarterback carousel well, he's going to have to make a decision soon.
Yeah, for sure.
The clock is ticking on him being able to play this whole quarterback psychological game of, we don't really have to identify a quarterback one. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Now it's getting to the point where, yeah, you do. But yeah, did you have anything else that you wanted to add on that one?
No, well, I just wanted to say, speaking of predictions, leads us straight into our closing segment here. Week 7 of the NFL, all right, is upon us. Obviously, we got the Thursday night game, the Broncos and the Saints. Sean Payton against his old team is just, I think, really the only reason why that's on Thursday night football.
It's such a poetic situation. Who you got, though?
I got the Saints.
You got the Saints winning.
Yeah, I think they're at home, I believe. Yeah, they're at home. So I think they make a good comeback game here in New Orleans and kind of put Sean Payton out like, yeah, we're past you, buddy.
Man. I just don't trust the Saints right now. I told them to get the fuck out the kitchen, and I believe that they will continue to stay the fuck out the kitchen. So I'm going with Denver.
Okay.
New England, Jacksonville.
God, the game of shitters is wild.
I got New England. I think Drake May is going to play well against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I've got Jacksonville just because I think they could come. They could. It's their second week in London. Back-to-back weeks in London is crazy. I don't know why it's scheduled like that. I also don't know why Jacksonville gets so many games in London. I'm sure somebody's explained it out there, but
maybe they knew about the
hurricane.
There
there was a point in time where there was a conversation about the Jaguars like permanently moving to London as a franchise. So
Really?
yeah, there was that conversation, but not anymore.
Maybe I don't know.
Not anymore because they got approved to do that like $1 billion like
Facility,
reconstruction
yeah.
in Jacksonville. But I'm going to go with the Jaguars here. Maybe Trevor Lawrence has a great game.
All right, Seattle, Atlanta.
Give me Atlanta. Give me Atlanta.
Yeah, I got Atlanta too.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Buffalo. I got Buffalo.
Buffalo. That's not a question.
Bengals, Cleveland. Bengals. Texans, Green Bay. That's gonna be a good one.
That might be game of the week right there.
I think so, but I'm gonna go fuck the Packers always. So I'm going Houston.
Go Texans.
Yeah. Miami, Indianapolis. I'm going the Colts.
Man, I think that's Anthony Richardson coming back from injury this week.
He should not play.
I agree. And
he
I wish
should not fucking play.
I wish we talked about this and that we had time to talk about this because I think he still should have sat behind Joe Flacco for these next couple of weeks. Maybe not for the rest of the year.
He should sit behind Joe Flacco for the rest of the season.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, they're playing. The offense looked a lot better with Joe Flacco out there.
They're gonna do this kid a disservice. I swear, Indianapolis is gonna do him a disservice.
They better hope he doesn't come back and get hurt again. Like if it's just
and then they end up with a Tua situation.
Right.
Detroit, Minnesota.
Okay, I might have lied. This might be game of the week. This one decides who's on top of the NFC North. Minnesota's at home. Give me Detroit, though.
I got Detroit, too. Philadelphia, New York.
Oh, jeez. I don't even look forward to that game.
I don't care, but I'm going to pick the Giants just because I said Nick Sirianni can.
When's Malik Neighbors coming back, by the way? I really want him to come back.
I don't know, but I got the Giants just because fuck the Eagles right now.
Give me the Eagles. They own that franchise.
That's fair. Raiders, Rams. I got the Rams.
I think Cooper Kupp's coming back this week, possibly. So give me the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. Washington, Carolina. I got Washington.
Carolina. Just kidding. Give me Washington.
Yeah, you just hate her on Jaden Daniels. Huh?
Nah, man.
Kansas City, San Francisco. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah,
They stay undefeated. Steelers, Jets.
Sunday Night Football.
The Steelers spoil Devontae Adams' first game with the Jets. I got the Steelers.
Give me the Jets, but why do we keep seeing the Jets and Steelers on Sunday Night Football? I swear it's like every fucking week we see them on a primetime game.
I don't know.
Can we get rid of that? Like, can we get somebody else, please?
No. As long as you got Aaron Rodgers on your team, he's going to be primetime.
Well, I think this is one of their last primetime games of the year, unless it gets flexed at some point later in the year. Like, they had a stretch.
By the way, speaking of flex, just really quickly, you saw that the Bears and Washington Commanders game got flexed.
We were fucking crying for that because why was that a 12 o'clock game when it should have definitely been a 3:25 game? Like, I think there was some games, obviously that's week 8, all right? So, 2 weeks from now, but, or a week, right? Yeah. I mean, technically 2 weeks. Technically 2 weeks, but there was some, like, not good game at, like, 3:25, so, but, yeah, this game, give me the Jets.
Baltimore, Bucks. I got Baltimore.
Yeah, give me Baltimore.
I think they're going to keep running the ball. They're going to stay consistent to their formula.
Unless Tampa makes it a shootout. I think if Tampa makes it a shootout, they give themselves a fair shot. But if it's a close game, I got Baltimore.
The only way that Tampa makes it a shootout is if the Baltimore Ravens pass coverage just decide to not show up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they don't show up and it is a shootout, give me the Bucks. But otherwise, Baltimore.
Chargers, Arizona.
Marvin Harrison got hurt last week, man.
Did he?
Yeah, but he's questionable for this week.
I mean, Arizona still ain't played well even with him.
The Chargers won last week. Granted, it was against the oh my god, who did they play? But they won by 1 score. They played the Broncos. They won 23-16.
I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chargers here too. By the way, Marvin Harrison getting hurt like last week. It was like the first quarter, I think, and put up he put up a goose egg in fantasy for me, man. That's why I lost last week.
Can't win them all, coach. You can't win them all,
coach. I'm 1-5 this year. This is bad. I made the championship last year. This year I'm 1-5. This is fucking ridiculous.
Maybe gambling is just not for you.
It's fantasy though. I'm not gambling.
Oh, true. Well, maybe you're just a bad GM.
No, because my friends know.
Maybe
man.
you should just stick to coaching.
I gotta stay the fuck out of the kitchen. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah. When it comes down to fantasy, you need to stay the fuck out of the kitchen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of the Halftime Podcast. I'm Coach M.
I'm Coach Konrad.
As always, You can find us on YouTube. Follow our YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram at the Halftime Podcast. That's the Halftime_podcast. You can always follow me at Coach M_got it. And you can find Coach K at Coach_KD41. Please, please, please be on the lookout for our sweepstakes. This week, the Bears have a bye week, so we're not doing it this week. But next week, for the Commanders game, we are back in tune for our halftime podcast sweepstakes. So you guys be on the lookout for that. Other than that, Coach K, you got anything you want to say to the people on our way out?
No, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, especially on the clips. We appreciate that. It's been fun. We appreciate all the love we get and all the haters too. Okay. We do appreciate you guys as well.
Yes,
but
we love the haters.
Other than that, great episode. Looking forward to next week, and stay on the lookout for some interviews coming soon.
Ooh. All right, everybody. See red, bear down, baby.
Down, baby.
And we're out of here. Yes, sir.